Hello there, Care Coordination Grant Program eCaST users. This is a quick tutorial on how to use eCaST for CCGP, the Care Coordination Grant Program. So first of all, let's find ourselves a client. In this instance, I'm going to look for myself. This will be Nick Roth, your data coordinator. Hit search. Let's go check out the cycles. We're going to add a new cycle to an already existing enrollment. And I'll show you what that enrollment looks like, because that's going to be key to the CCGP data entry. Now this should look familiar to everybody. It's our standard kind of clinical cycle data entry piece. I'm specifically using this agency because I know this will work. It's training environment, completely de-identified, so no personal information in this demonstration. So we're going to click Add just to start a new cycle. And what I want to show you in that enrollment section is that we're talking about folks that have insurance and or public insurance and do not have Medicare, and that's how folks are going to qualify for CCGP as opposed to clinical services and direct care through the WWC program. So that's how you want to enter an individual enrollment, is in that exact fashion. Once again, we'll take a look at that. Just to have a look at what it looks like. You get legal presence checked, WWC program, yes, has private insurance, no Medicare, and that's really the biggest difference between regular data entry in eCaST and the CCGP program, is that insurance information, so that they can have insurance, be it private or public. So what we're going to do is add a breast screening, and I want to show you what that looks like. Hit create new screening. We're going to pick a body part. We're going to go with breast. Fill out the information just as you normally would for regular data entry. In this case, we'll say that yes, there was education funded. We'll say the date is known. Let's say that the previous MAM happened 2 years ago from the office visit date. And the reason that we're in today is going to be just routine screening MAM. Let's go ahead and add procedures. So if we click and add a CBE, clinical breast exam, here's the other huge important part of CCGP. The funding source is never going to be WWC in this. This is going to be either Medicaid, or in the instance that we're showing right now is going to be insurance. It's important to note the insurance section you have to scroll down a little bit to get to. It's right here. So let's say this individual came in for a CBE, not suspicious, and let's add that. Well, it'll pop us back up to the patient accordion. It'll show us that CBE was entered, that it came back as not being suspicious, so a normal CBE. And then I'll show you what that looks like as far as just getting to the CBE level. So it's important to note in our billing levels that you can just do a CBE and it'll get you what we call a B7 on the BPS scale. So if I left this alone, if I just hit save, it'll take us back to that screenings page, and it's going to show an error currently. And what they want us to do is to add more screenings. However, let's say that your individual only came in for the CBE, they didn't happen to make it in for their MAM. If you changed the follow-up information to follow routine screening, that'll automate for you if you click on this little edit button and hit save. Now if you save this record as you see it right now, it'll come back and it'll pay out at this B7 rate. So for just a CBE for the CCGP program, we'll pay out at B7. Now let's say that your client, we're going to go back into the record, let's say they came in and did a mammogram. So let's add that procedure to the CBE. Add the MAM. The funding source again is not going to be WWC. It's either going to be Medicare or insurance for private insurance. We'll say this was done a week later. The procedure result for this example, we're going to say that it was a benign finding, that we're good. We're in the screening mode, and this came back okay. So nothing abnormal in this individual record thus far. If you got it to this point and the follow-up reads follow routine screening, if you hit save, that individual screening is going to pay out at what we're going to call a B8. So it'll cover the CVE and the MAM for coordinating that patient, getting both of those procedures taken care of. But let's choose one more piece of an example to show you just one further billing rate for potential CCGP clients. Let's go ahead and say that this mammogram came back as a suspicious abnormality. So let's save that. Now, normally when you data enter this, that'll change it to further immediate follow-up required, meaning we need diagnostic procedures after this suspicious abnormality in the screening MAM. So let's go ahead and add a diagnostic procedure. Let's add an ultrasound. Funding source again, not WWC. It's going to be that private insurance. And we'll say the ultrasound happened a week after that mammogram. Now let's say in this instance we have a benign finding ultimately. Let's go ahead and click Add. Now we know that when we get to the diagnostic section in eCaST, it does require that a final diagnosis is entered as well. So let's go ahead and click Add New Record. And we'll fill out the data entry here. We're going to say this individual is going to return for routine screenings. They had a benign result. Breast cancer is not diagnosed. Final diagnostic started or admin close date is 9/15. This date will always match the date of the last procedure. The diagnostic section, hit save. Save on the record, and that's how you get to a B9. So the next bill run, this instance would pay out at a B9. So for CCGP, two main things that you need to pay attention to. It's just like regular data entry for the training you've already done, but in that enrollment, you'll have an individual that either has private insurance or Medicare. So the enrollment section is very important as far as what type of insurance the patient has, client has. And then in those individual procedures, the funding source for each one of these procedures has got to be either the insurance or the Medicaid. So you'll see the funding source listed here. It is not WWC. So that's the main difference between CCGP and regular direct care service data entry. If you have any questions, please email me. It's nicholas.roth@state.co.us. For any further questions, please send me a message. Other than that, folks, that's it for CCGP. Thank you for listening to this training. Have a great day.